Late Night Health continues. I'm Mark Alyn. In about 30 minutes, we're going to talk to somebody I think is a hero. Her name is Elizabeth Kelly. She's a criminal defense attorney, and she specializes in defending those with mental challenges who are mentally, I guess, not competent. We'll find out more about Elizabeth in about 25 minutes from now. Now we go to the great state. It's one of the I states. I already forgot, Idaho. And we're going to spend some time with Louise Gittleman. She's been on the show before, we think, and it's been a couple of years. She has a new book out called Radical Metabolism. She is has a Ph.D. and is a certified nutrition specialist as well. Ann, welcome back to Late Night Health.
Thank you, Mark. Nice to be with you again.
Do you go by Ann or Ann Louise?
Ann Louise.
Ann Louise, okay. In the middle of the country where you are, do you have as much opportunity to eat quality, clean food that we have here in Southern California?
Yes, because many Southern Californians are moving to the great state of Idaho. Interestingly enough, we've got many farm-to-table restaurants. We've got all-organic supermarkets, so I do very well in the great state of Idaho. I'm in the northern part of the state, by the way.
All right, so you're near Washington.
Not far from Spokane.
Got it. Our next guest lives in Spokane.
Oh, my goodness.
So look at that. And we should point out that the fires up in that part of the country are affecting air quality. And so if Ann Louise coughs a little bit, we will understand.
Thank you.
I am one of those people who likes to eat.
Well, join the crowd, join the club.
I mean, but I've tried smoothies, I've tried juicing, I've tried all of that. I like chewing and swallowing physical food. Mm-hmm. Can I still shed pounds and radicalize my metabolism?
You sure can, and if you're over 40, the program works exceedingly well because it's a program that really connects the thyroid gland, which starts to slow down with people our age, and it connects it with the gallbladder, which is a very unholy connection, to be quite honest with you. And so we're finding that individuals that go on the program not only lose weight, but they're able to reduce thyroid medication, and many with autoimmune illnesses are finding that they're doing much better as well. So it's radical in that we introduce back good fats from certain vegetable oils, including hemp seed oil, which is now becoming so much in the forefront today. And we also take away some grains, but we give you foods where you're going to feel filled up, you're going to sleep better, you'll have better energy, and you'll also start to heal any kind of thyroid issue, which is now so epidemic in our population.
Now, we have a problem with vitamin D. We have a problem with other supplements or minerals in our society, especially in the United States, because the food manufacturers grind them out.
Correct.
And doctors tend to pull gallbladders. I mean, they cut them out. I think they do it through the belly button right now. But is that a good thing or a bad thing to take out your...
No, not unless there's a real severe issue with the gallbladder. God forbid it's gangrene. But what we're finding is that the loss of the gallbladder seems to be connected, according to the research that I've looked at, that individuals that actually don't have their gallbladder seem to suffer from real issues with the thyroid. There's a metabolic slowdown. I have seen this in the literature with research that's come out of Finland. I've seen it with research that's come out of Harvard Medical School, so that you're going to want to keep your gallbladder if you can, and I teach you how to do that in the book, because individuals that have problems with their thyroid are 7 times more likely to suffer from hypothyroidism. Now, that's a definite statistic. And if you ask any doctor who works with people that are over 40, and even under 40, quite honestly, but it's more apparent with those of us that are a little older, you're going to see that they start with their thyroid issues maybe 2 to 3 months after the gallbladder is taken out. So the gallbladder is not a throwaway organ. I talk about that in Radical Metabolism.
I won't take too much offense at your statement that those of us who are a little over 40 are. I won't, but that's okay. The thyroid helps maintain the metabolism. Isn't that one of the functions of the thyroid?
Yes, it's a major thermostatic or metabolic gland. Yes, indeed. And we're suffering from all kinds of issues with the thyroid, whether it's an autoimmune issue like Hashimoto's in this day and age, Graves' disease, which is coming to be another epidemic. And so we're finding that connection with the gallbladder, or more specifically with bile, which is what the gallbladder stores, it's made through the liver, is dramatically connected to your inability to lose weight, and it's connected to your ability to utilize fat-soluble vitamins like the vitamin D, which is so important for immunity in this day and time.
Barbara Bush is probably was known to have Graves' disease. You could see it in her face. You can see Graves. It does something around the circles of your eyes. That's growing, that condition?
We're seeing a real epidemic of all kinds of thyroid dysfunction, whether it's Hashimoto's thyroidiasis or it's a problem as well with Graves. And bile is the forgotten switch. That's really what my major messages in Radical Metabolism. So once we get bile flowing again, you know what I'm finding, Mark, that everything comes into balance. People start losing weight, and they deal with all of the other metabolic issues that are affecting the body. So sluggish bile, or the inability to promote bile or secrete it at a timely fashion, is definitely slowing the thyroid and can also manifest itself in fatigue, in constipation, in dry skin, in dizziness, in bloat, all kinds of symptoms that are seemingly unrelated.
What about stress?
Huge. I mean, we've got to deal with stress. And one of the issues with your bile...
Unless you live in Idaho where there is no stress.
Except with the fires that are burning
except for the fires.
In the great state of Washington and Montana and Oregon these days. Yeah, we've got secondary stress, so to speak, secondary smoke. There's stress, and we've been involved with stress now for 30 to 40 years. We live in a very stressful society, and when you're under stress, you don't secrete digestive enzymes, which stops the promotion of bile or the gallbladder's release of bile through the gallbladder itself. So stress is a huge factor, and we deal with that as well in the book with the right kind of oils, the right kind of fats, the right kind of timing with your meals, the right kind of exercise, and the right kind of detoxification.
Would you say that gut health is the key to all health?
Your gut is the second brain. It's the major immunity gland, so I would definitely say so, and that's why I felt it was so important to write Radical Metabolism and kind of rewrite the rules of nutrition, because by getting people to lose their weight, we're also introducing them to ways to nourish the gut, to harmonize their hormones, and of course to blast fat with our 21-day reboot. So without a doubt, the gut is where it's at. It's my second favorite organ next to the gallbladder.
I wouldn't recognize a gallbladder from the stomach or kidney or anything else, and I actually failed several lab practicals in college when I was taking advanced biology, which got me out of the medical program very, very quickly, or at least in my head. I have a question regarding some natural sweeteners, because sugar is predominantly discussed in your book. Sugar is a poison.
Well, it's because it promotes certain kind of hormones that are connected to the deposition of fat, and it's also connected to insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, the thinning of bones, the thinning of collagen, which is another issue that's very important in the forefront today, as those of us over the age of 40 understand. But I will
speak for yourself on that one. Come on.
I'm one of those, by the way. My hand is way up in the air. Yes, I'm over the age of 40.
I am too.
But to tell you the truth, the maintenance gets a little more challenging as we get older and wiser, as we get into our saging years. So when it comes to sugar, I talk about the sugars that I think are the most healthful, that have nothing to do with blood sugar spiking, and that would be your stevia, which is a natural herb that we found in Japan, which has been studied for centuries right now, or at least decades, in terms of its ability to help stabilize blood sugars and not raise glucose levels. We also talk a little bit about monk fruit, which is a little bit more expensive, as well as chicory root powder, interestingly enough, which people are finding is very good for the gut. So it's not only good for sweetening, but it's going to nourish your gut bugs as well.
My mother used chicory in coffee. She grew up, had family in the South, and there was a brand of coffee. In fact, I think they still sell it, and it's half chicory and half coffee. And she loved that coffee. I wasn't drinking coffee at that time, and I don't drink that much now. I want to talk about stevia and cane sugar because they're both from natural plants. Mm-hmm. Okay, you can get non-GMO cane sugar, but I have a real problem with stevia, and I'll tell you about that when we come back. Our guest is Louise Gittleman. She's written a book. She's written many books, 30 books. But this one is really important. It's called Radical Metabolism, and if you're over 40, pick it up. If you're over 50, you have to read it. Because if you just pick it up, it doesn't do you any good. We're going to talk about sugar. We're going to talk about stevia. And we're going to talk about your metabolism and kind of speeding it up, if you will, with Louise as Late Night Health continues. Be sure to join us at latenighthealth.com, latenighthealth.com. Don't go away. More coming up as we move forward.
Welcome to Guide to the Soul. This is Robert Clancy. Although it's easy to draw a line in the sand, it's always worth the extra effort to draw from your heart. Hatred and anger are so easy to fall upon, especially when you become frustrated with someone. Love and forgiveness may take some work, but just look at the benefits. In the heat of the moment, you can easily say something regrettable, but you can also take a deep breath and think, is this worth the anguish? You can stand up and shout and protest against something you disagree with, but quite often, it's the quiet heart that speaks louder than any anger ever could. Tempered steel is strongest when it's been cooled. When you let anger pass you by, you will always return to a place of love.
For more inspiration from Robert Clancy, visit guidetothesoul.com or go to the Moments with Robert page on latenighthealth.com.
The stigma around mental health disorders and suicide is still very strong in our culture. It's an uncomfortable topic for many of us, and yet it's something we can't afford to ignore, according to Dan Shuck, the author of A Glass Half Empty or Half Full, a children's book for grown-ups. Last month, the CDC released a study that reports suicide rates went up more than 30% in half the states since 1999. A Glass Half Empty or Half Full, a children's book for grown-ups, takes a new approach to addressing mental illness. The book playfully explores pessimism versus optimism to find balance, manage stress, and enjoy life. The book uses humor to provide an opportunity to determine the fullness of our own glass and how to apply it to our daily lives. Donations from the proceeds of the book will be made to a Glass Half Question fundraising campaign for the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation. A Glass Half Empty or Half Full, a children's book for grown-ups, is available from Amazon.com, Kindle, and Barnes & Noble. For more information, visit www.glasshalfquestion.com.